series. As you're popping in, make sure you say hi because your hi matters. And your hi is part of the communication part, right? So make sure you're popping in and make sure you're engaging because you don't just want to listen to me. It would be nice if you also engage with me so I can talk to you and we can have a dialogue. So hey y'all, it's Dr. Ali. And I wanted to share a few different strategies and skills that I have been discussing with my leaders, with my clients. I am an audiologist, speech language pathologist. I am a TEDx speaker. I am an international world speaker. I'm a trained speaker, also experienced in speaking worldwide. Trained with the best coaches when it comes to speaking, and it's an innate thing that I do have. So it's something that many have come to me for decades to help them in different aspects. So I like to share communication skills because it's part of who I am and it's part of my everyday life, not only as work, but also as I engage as an autism mom. One of the things that I am constantly working on in communication with Zachary is how to show up through his story, right? And he doesn't even know he has a story. You don't even know you have a story. We all have stories inside of us. And that's part of being a better communicator is tapping into our story and being okay with our transparency in who we are. So one of the things I have learned, especially through my coaching experiences, are what are one of the things that have, like, I'm speaking about communication. So I'm going to think about what's something that has impacted me in terms of communication, where it has changed me, or it may have made it very difficult and challenging for me, like go into my valley kind of thing, right? And one of those things where I was always very nervous of speaking in front of people because I came from the islands. I had an island accent. Even though I'm an educator and a speech language pathologist, I was still trying to speak without this accent. And then someone really, well, not someone, a few people in different spaces, when I would go inside of coaching experiences or leadership spaces and I wouldn't share or I wouldn't talk, and they'd ask, well, why are you being so silent if you have all this information? And I would say, well, my accent sometimes it derails me from showing up and really speaking my thoughts and sharing. And then I had this coach, this media coach, TJ Mercer. Thanks, I appreciate it. She was like, Dr. Ali, you can say the alphabet to me. I love your voice. I love the accent. It's you. Same thing my coach Lisa Nicholas had explained to me, Dr. Ali, when I hear your voice, when I hear you speak, I know it's you because it's so succinct. It's so different. And that became part of my social story on how I became more empowered to start sharing more and stop trying to get rid of this accent and just embrace who I am. Yes, this is who I am. This is my voice. I am. My family's from Guyana. I also have some family in Trinidad. I live in Brooklyn, New York, which is like a melting pot of different types of islands and Caribbean spaces. I also work here, so you'll hear the formal English speaking because I also was educated at Brooklyn College and Stony Brook and South University. I have spoken at so many different spaces or being trained in the appropriate way of phonetics and how to explain properly. Hey, Bayo, I appreciate you. Hey, how are you? Thanks for popping in. And as I began to get more comfortable in my own vernacular and I began to get more comfortable in my own accent. So this is for my people who may be non-English speakers who sometimes feel like, okay, I'm not going to show up because I'm not an English natural, English isn't my first language. That's okay. Your accent also helps. Like it helps to distinguish you from who you are. And after a while, when you continue to speak, people begin to know, well, that is who you are. It's your real story. It's your real life. The key is, of course, we want to be clear in speaking. So I would slow it down if there's an accent, right? Or I would use more active listening to see what is the environment around me and will they be able to understand me. So, for example, this is YouTube or this is a space where I'm speaking where people are coming from all across the world. Um, English may not be your first language, but I could use a lot of nonverbal cues. I could speak slowly. I could take pauses. I can use just different intonations so that it can help you with understanding what I'm saying. It doesn't mean to throw away my own accent, but it means to be, be aware that even while speaking, I can make certain changes to help people to understand. So those are some things that you could do, especially if you're a non-English speaker, if you're nervous about communicating in front of others, if you don't know the English language well, or if you do speak English and you just feel like, I don't know if I open my mouth, if the right words are going to come out. Okay. That part where active listening comes in, especially for leaders, is pay attention to your audience, right? Pay attention to who is there and how do they lean in to listening to what you have to say. Your message is more important than your verbal intonation, right? What is the meaning behind what you have to say can mean even more than the actual words you say. I mean, when everything is combined, it's even more powerful. So there's strategies, of course. But be more concerned about the meaning. Tap into your story, share your social story, be okay with being vulnerable, right? Especially if you're in spaces where vulnerability connects more with people. If you're in a certain environment and you're speaking and we have something in common, like for example, right now it is raining in Brooklyn. So rain is what we're going through. That is my social story. I pulled aside so I can do this quick live because this is a message I wanted to share. But I'm literally driving through rain. Like this is the other side of me. I'm in rain, right? And it's okay because that's life. You guys see me walking sometimes and walking through the streets of Brooklyn. That's my social story. As I empower, as I share, as I connect, I'm still sharing the real authenticity of what my life can look like. Hey, Deborah, thanks for popping in and thanks for saying hi. I appreciate you for subscribing, by the way. And I appreciate you for leaning into this information. I am Dr. Ali. I'm a communication expert as an audiologist, speech language pathologist, and an autism mama. So I don't only just learn it educational wise, I also am working on it with my son who has amazing speech and communication skills because he was blessed with a mama like me and amazing speech therapist throughout his lifetime. I ain't taking all the credit. He had some really great speech therapists, but we were on the same page. If you're here and you're listening, thank you. But all in all, the key of that is social stories matter, active listening matter, especially for leaders, especially for people who are in front of big groups. Pay attention to signs and pay attention to what others are leaning into. So this is where I can go a little further into. For example, high vibes is my space. High vibes is my energy. I'm always going to be sharing high vibes because that's who I am. Say hi. Your high matters. I am also an educator. I'm also a communicator, a communication specialist. So as I come in and share high vibes, communication happens because I'm talking and I'm listening and I'm engaging with you and I'm having great discourse, sometimes back and forth. I love the engagement aspect of it. That is communication. And that's authentic connectivity, right? It's not me being fake. It's me being myself. And literally, that is where how the channel just started to just navigate and start to become high vibes and communication. And, Dr. Ali, that's me. Authenticity matters. So, as you're showing up today, as you're showing up as an effective leader, or you're just showing up as yourself, active listening, social stories, pay attention, and watch how that improves your communication skills. You got specific questions, of course, drop it below or reach out to me and we'll see how I can support you in your specific area. See you. Have a blessed and amazing weekend. Stay safe, stay amazing, and continue sharing your high vibes out there because your high matters.